Appearance is the first factor that caught in the eye as a human being. Humans instinctively drive to better looks, so humans have established many beauty standards throughout history. And in this video, I like to introduce some beauty standards in history. First, we go back to very distant past, which is the prehistory era. In the prehistory era, it was important to produce many descendants because many workers were needed for farming and hunting. Most of the women painted in prehistoric cave paintings had voluminous bodies, and it is assumed that fat and voluptuous women were symbols for fertility and abundance, based on the Venus of Willendorf, which was discovered in Austria in 1908. And we move to ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, people emphasized healthy human beauty with a sound mind. They considered women with natural solid, full-bodied, and pale skin without makeup as a beautiful. Men also valued a healthy body. They considered a muscular and strong body was a beautiful body. When we take a look at ancient Greek sculptures, there are many sculptures with muscular bodies. If you look at ancient Greek figures, you might have discussion. Why all penises on athletic Greek bodies are smaller than average? Here is a fun fact about that. A large penis was a symbol of the barbaric and uncontrollable desires. Since an ideal man was supposed to be beautiful not only from the outside, but also from the inside, a need to distinguish oneself as a civilized had to be demonstrated on the outside. Historian Paul Crystal writes in his book In Bed with the Ancient Greeks, the small penis was a consonant with Greek ideals of male beauty. And he also says it was a badge of the highest culture and a paragon of civilization. And these standards change rapidly as time changes. The third period I'm going to talk about is Middle Ages or medieval period. Disclaimer: medieval times lasted roughly from the 5th century to 15th century. That's 1,000 years of history of hundreds of cultures and nations. What I'm going to talk about in here only applies to Christianized Western Europe, which is the stereotypical medieval world. It will obviously be a different story if we include people from other regions and of different faiths. Anyway, let's go back to Western Europe. In the Middle Ages, one religion became very large, which is Christianity. Due to Christianity, the extremely restrained and pure image was the standard of beauty for women. Women in this era, various body types were appreciated at various places at different times, but especially in Western Europe, considered purity or virginity beautiful, with white skin and long and slender symmetrical figures. But they covered most of their body with clothes because of the religion. Hair was considered to be one of the most beautiful parts of the female body. That's why in a lot of places, married Christian women, their hair is not to arouse impious desires in the minds of the other men. They sometimes intentionally shave their eyebrows to make their foreheads look higher, which was considered pretty. Medieval societies were very patriarchal, and there were much more beauty standards for women than for men. As long as a man was healthy, had at least a bit of an aesthetic figure, didn't have any very unusual body features, and was well groomed, he was considered well looking. Long fair hair, pale skin, and slenderness were appreciated. Time moves away from Christian beliefs and into human-centered worldview. Yes, the next period is early modern period, which is Renaissance. In this era, women with ample bosoms, round stomachs, full hips, and fair skin were considered beautiful. White skin was fashionable, but it should have hints of pink in the form of rosy cheeks or similar. In the case of men, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man laid out exactly how the perfect body should look. It had nothing to do with being lean or muscular, but having a body that was perfectly in proportion. And then, idea of political power began to emerge. Beauty could be covered with wealth and power. Famous example of this is Michelangelo's David. His controversial pose, with one leg holding his full weight while the other legs move slightly forward, gave us an impression of the classical ideal of beauty. Despite this ideal, the body itself is not perfect when we look at David's proportions. Men in these days wanted to be portrayed as their own powerful selves, with a focus on individual strengths. Last but not least, the period that I'm going to talk about is 18th century to 19th century. Women in this time period, hourglass shapes were in, and women were expected to be curvy and have a tiny waist. In fact, the body was meant to be desirably plump, but women were instructed to lace their corsets as tight as possible for the illusion of minuscule waist. Ideals of manhood were to change from rugged masculinity and more towards an elegant and refined model. Clean-shaved with refined appearance, wearing a white powdered wigs. This is the period during which clothing began to carry more and more important meaning, giving the possessors not only attractiveness but social status as well. Since the 1900s, standards have changed continuously over 10 to 20 years and have changed to the standards we know today. Absolutely, these standards have now been applied in all countries. The Mercy tribe in Ethiopia still follows the custom of wearing a lip plate, which is linked to the female's fertility and eligibility for marriage. It is said that a woman who does not wear a lip plate is considered lazy and will not guarantee as large as bride wealth. Women of the Kayan tribe, a subgroup of Red Karen, Tibeto-Burman ethnic minority of Myanmar, identify themselves by their forms of dress as well as wearing neck rings, breast coils that are placed around the neck. Many ideas regarding why the coils are worn have been suggested, that the rings protected women from becoming slaves, like making them less attractive to other tribes, or that the coils give the woman resemblance to a dragon, an important figure in Kayan folklore, but the exact reason is not stated yet. Due to various media and especially idol industry, South Korea has an obsession that people should be and have to be pretty. I've also lived under that compulsion, and I've been trying to all my life to get out of it. I selected the obsession of Korean beauty as theme of assignment 1, and the idol beauty gradually grew and reaching the thought of what the beauty of the past was like. The standards that I mentioned in this video are a really small portion of standards in history. The standards I researched are mostly focused on the Western, and it does not include standards in other continents. I tried to investigate the facts as much as possible, but there may be some wrong information. But what I wanted to deliver is this. There have been so many different standards of beauty in the world, and the factors that are not currently considered beautiful were the standards that were admired in the past. The standards of beauty have changed, and it will change consequently, so it can't be said that there is a standard of absolute beauty. The idea of appearance is the factor that inherently impossible to escape because we have eyes. However, I can surely say you're beautiful as you are. Thank you for watching.